What the hell is a month year?
When your heart is racing at the speed of light.
Hey y'all, welcome back to another Back to Me horror dating story. This is the third horrible dating story I have told you guys. This next story, oh my gosh, this was not a relationship. This was just a date, one date, because you'll see why in a minute. It was real bad. It was real bad. All right, for the sake of the story, we're gonna call this guy Rick. I met Rick through my cousin. I literally took one for the team. My cousin was dating this guy that she met that had a friend that was like, oh, do you have a friend for my friend? You know how people do that. I was younger, in my 20s then, so you know that was just the kind of thing they did. You got a friend for my friend, whatever. So she was like, I don't know what he looked like, but can you just entertain him? Because, you know, whatever. So I was like, fine, you can give him my number or whatever, he can text me. So he started texting me probably about 2 or 3 days later. And all the text messages, and nothing about text messages, because you know everybody shorthand text messages. All of the text messages seemed really dumb. I'm talking about like misspelled words, stuff that didn't make sense. Some of it I had to like read it so many times to try to figure out what it meant. But I was like, whatever. It's just text and culture. Like, it's no big deal. Whatever. I didn't try to chalk that up to like the person himself. Fast forward about 2 weeks later, these guys lived in Spartanburg, South Carolina, Spartanburg. So that's a good little drive from where we live. So they decided they were going to come up here. And instead of them coming to our town, which is nothing in our town, we're all going to meet in Charlotte because it's like a, you know, a vibe, whatever. So we can go find something to do in Charlotte. So anyway, we was going to meet them in Charlotte. Fast forward, me and my cousin, we rode to, it was like a shopping center parking lot or whatever. And they drove up separately for whatever reason. So we met them in the shopping center parking lot. I left my car because I drove my car and me and my cousin was in my car. I left my car in that parking lot, and then she got in the car with her guy. I got in the car with Rick, right? So, you know, he was a gentleman. He actually got out of the car and opened the door for me. Like, that was really sweet. So, I mean, he seemed, on first impressions, cool. He was really nice, and you know, that was it. So my cousin and her dude, they had some other plans. So they didn't go where we were gonna go. So he was like, where do you want to go? And I was like, it doesn't matter. He's like, well, I want to get something to eat. I like to take you out to eat. You know, can I take you out to eat? Basically. So he said it like he was asking me on a date. And I'm like, oh, sure. I mean, and he was like, I said, you can pick the restaurant or whatever. And he was like, cool, I'm going to take you to my favorite spot. So he plugged something into his GPS, and then we started to drive. We pull up at the Waffle House. I'm just, beggars can't be choosers, so I ain't say nothing. Because, I like the Waffle House, but for a date, you pick the restaurant, you pull up at the Waffle House? So I was already like, this is about to be strange. Fast forward a few minutes into the day, he was asking me a lot of questions. So a lot of it was just me talking and he was listening. So everything turned, you know, was going good at first. Till the lady came over and took our order. When our food, you know how fast food come out at Waffle House. Our food started coming out and he asked for ketchup because he had got like a patty melt or something. I can't remember exactly what he got, but it was something that apparently required ketchup. So he was like, can I get some ketchup? And they was like, we don't have no ketchup. This dude, literally, you would have thought that they told him that they were going to need his firstborn or something. He flipped out because they didn't have any ketchup. He was just going on and on and on about how they didn't have no ketchup and how you going to run a business without ketchup. Like, he was so embarrassing. Like, I was just like looking off to the side, stretching my eyes, and I'm thinking to myself, he's joking. He's going to start laughing and it's going to be like cool or whatever. Nah, he was dead ass about this ketchup. So anyway, they didn't have no damn ketchup. Wasn't nothing you could do about it. So finally we move on. He was still bickering a little bit about the ketchup. So then just to change the mood, I started asking him questions. I was like, tell me a little bit more about yourself. And he was telling me that he has a daughter, right? So a little bit, he started telling me about his daughter had been sick. She was a little baby. And he was telling me a story about how when something was wrong with one of her eyes when she was born, and she was going to need to have surgery. All of a sudden, he got really quiet. And tears started coming out his eyes, which I get it. You know, I'm emotional when I come to talk about my kids too, right? But he was like, man, after her surgery, whole time he telling me the rest of the story, he got tears just streaming down. He was like, after her surgery, they bring her out and they just had her eyes wrapped, even the eye they didn't operate on. And he was like, it was so sad. It was so sad. She was only 5 years old. Let that sink in. She was only 5 years old. Years. What the hell is a month year? I was floored. I took a minute because I was like, no way he was serious about that. Maybe it was a slip up. Month years? Anyway, so I just couldn't believe it. But then it could have just been a one-off. It could have been just a one-off. He slipped up, he said something wrong, whatever. Fast forward, we leave the Waffle House. We decided we was going to go to this bar, which was far from the Waffle House where we were. We were in an area neither one of us knew, but we saw a sign for a bar. So he was like, let's just go to that bar or whatever. So we get to the bar. We're sitting at the bar. He's ordering beer because, of course, that's what a dude does at the bar. But anyway, he ordered him a beer. He was like, you know what you want? You want a margarita or something? Margarita? What? Yes, margarita. Y'all, it was too much. I could not stand it. It was every other word was mispronounced. It was crazy. And I started like really questioning his intelligence because I just wasn't used to this kind of talk. Nobody's used to this kind of talk. It was crazy. And it went on and on and on. Every other word was mispronounced. And I was so over it. I was so ready to go. Later on, my cousin called to check in on me, and I told her, you owe me big. Like, I cannot believe you got me out on a date with this dude that can't pronounce margarita and that has a 5-month-year-old baby. Years. I just couldn't believe it. And it was on and on, y'all. I wish I could remember. It was so long ago, though. I wish I could remember all of the little words he said, but it was so many. He mispronounced so many words. He was a mess. He was a hot mess. And then not to mention his anger issues, because you go off on somebody because they ain't got no ketchup. Who knows what you'll do if, you know, in a serious kind of argument, bro. Calm your tits, because this is not that serious about some ketchup. But anyway, so I hope y'all enjoyed this little short one. I got another one, but I'll wait till tomorrow. All right, so my daughter, one of my daughters is at my dad's chilling. The other one is at cheer practice. She gets out at 7:30, so we're gonna try to DoorDash a little bit, see what we can make while we wait. And then if you guys know the word of prayer, send up one for my stepdad. He had bypass surgery yesterday. And he is in the hospital, so his last visit an hour is 8 o'clock tonight, so we're gonna go and see him. He was doing good. I FaceTimed him earlier. I got to talk to him. They actually had him walking and everything, so after a major surgery, that's pretty good. So if you know the word of prayer, definitely send up a word for him. Thank you. Change of plans. For some reason, my DoorDash app will not let me dash. It just keeps saying some kind of error. Anybody ever seen this error message before? I haven't. I even contacted the customer support, and that wasn't no help. That was all. I know that was a bot. It wasn't no help, so I just like bump it. I'm just gonna go get some gas and go to the hospital to see my stepdaddy whenever my baby get out. So I'm just gonna do that. Whatever. I tried. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye.